Escambia County Redevelopment Agency regular meeting September 5th, 2024, 9 o'clock a.m. Please turn your cell phone to vibrate silence or the offsetting. The Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding an item on the agenda. The speaker is limited to 2 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairman. Is there proof of publication?
The CRA meeting was published in the Escambia Sun Press on August 29, 2024.
Thank you. Are there any speakers for public forum?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you so much. Technical and public service.
We have one recommendation concerning Community Redevelopment Agency meeting minutes, August 1st, 2024.
We have we'll entertain a motion.
Move the minutes. Second.
A motion, please vote, raise your hand. Passes 4 in favor. Thank you. Budget and finance.
3 for your approval. First one is recommendation concerning residential rehab grant program funding and lien agreements. Second one is recommendation concerning the cancellation of residential rehab grant program liens. And the third one is recommendation concerning residential roof program funding and lien agreement.
Any speakers, Mr. Chairman?
We have none.
I move all 3 items in the affirmative.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, please vote. Passes 4 in favor. Thank you so much. Did we take 3 with that? I think we did. Are there any items for discussion?
No discussion item.
Good. I don't see Claire, but I certainly want to make sure we have clarification about CRA dollars in housing. There's been something, what I believe is misinformation. Do you have any information on the housing program, where we are with SHIP funding and HUD funding?
That would actually would be talk to Garrett on that. And
I'll
on
see
the SHIP
Garrett.
fund. Okay.
Garrett, kind of give us the 30 seconds of what we've done, what we're doing, and where we are.
Sure. Let's see here. Yeah, we've expended all of our funds for the purchase assistance strategy. We've spent, I think originally we had budgeted around $500,000, but we went up to around 1.3 million in that. So we've spent all of those.
So it was the
funds.
1.3 million. Did it exceed the budget?
It did.
By how much?
By $900,000.
That's a significant amount to go over the budget.
And what we did so is to keep it running as long as possible is our newest allocation that we're going to be receiving, we went ahead and kind of backfilled that with some rehab dollars, and then in October, once the money actually gets into the budget, we will move that money back over to rehab. So we've exhausted the funding for that strategy, but all of our rehabs, our demo rebuilds, our wheelchair ramps, our emergency strategies, all of that is still fully funded and moving full steam ahead.
So Garrett, and I guess I only had about 2 or 3 rehabs in my district in the last couple of years, but there's a long waiting list. How do we expedite this? I mean, what's the issue with the waiting list? What do we, as a board, what do we need to do to help you? Because I've had people on waiting lists for 3-5 years. I mean,
Right.
so
Yeah.
how do we move that forward?
It is a long wait list. Right now we have around 350 folks on that wait list. I'm very proud of the work that our division has done in the last couple of years, getting more contractors involved in the community. We've got another meeting coming up with purchasing. In October, we're going to be reaching out to more contractors, trying to get them involved. We've increased our rehabs by around 400% in the last year. So we're trying to move full steam ahead with that.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's just important to me. I mean, I don't care what they're writing, but I mean, it's important to me that constituents get those services.
Right,
I mean, and so
absolutely.
I know that there are people that I represent that have been on a waiting list, in perpetuity. I mean, some probably since I was elected, and so that's why they live in. I mean, unfortunately, that's why we find dollars in CRAs and blighted and safe neighborhoods is to improve the quality of life. So I just want to make sure that we're getting that money on the ground as quick as possible to help those most vulnerable citizens.
Right.
Commissioner Cole, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say there is for any of those folks on the wait list, if they have been on there a while, which they very well may have, if they have any emergency situations such as roof leaking, dangerous wiring, anything like that, we have created the emergency rehab program to address those safety concerns, and we don't keep a wait list for that program. Once someone calls us, they get an application that same week, and we can at least address those safety concerns while they're on the wait list, and then once we get to their name, we can more holistically help them.
So if we have the money, the wait list is because we don't have what, contractors? I mean, why is the wait list?
It's a lack of funding. We can only, with our SHIP allocation, for example, we get between, let's say, 1.5 and 3.5 million a year. So if with each rehab project costing, roughly $50,000, let's say, there's only so much we can do. And then we have our demo and rebuild program that we've started back up, and then purchase assistance naturally. So we're
How many roofs have you done?
roofs, dozens and dozens. And that's just SHIP. I can't speak for CRA, but I know they do a whole bunch of roofs as well.
So I think that would be helpful. I mean, obviously, we'll have a lot of new members on the board, but it would be great at this CRA meeting that we have some type of analysis or of what we've done, the projects that have happened, how many roofs, how many rehabs, to kind of put that, in a spreadsheet to kind of demonstrate
Okay.
what we've done with the dollars. But
We'll have that on the next board meeting with, I have that information for you.
thank you. Commissioner Kohler?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Mann. I want to make, I think it's important for clarity, the $800,000 that was overspent. When I sit down with you guys, I just want this on the record. It was the applications that came in from the city, correct? Not from our department?
That is correct.
So it wasn't on the county, even though we manage it. We got applications from the city, and we did what was right, but they overspent their annual budget. It wasn't on the county.
Right. Right. I mean, but that's probably not the way that it was portrayed or written, Mike. I mean, and so I think in good faith, our staff gave it, and Gary, I want to just make sure for clarification, since it's a public meeting, we allotted $800,000 over what was budgeted for their first-time home buyers. Is that what?
Correct. Yeah, anyone that had already submitted an application, we didn't feel it was fair to them to turn them down at that point. They had already, found a house, got their first mortgage lined up. So we didn't want to harm any of those folks. So every application that was active that the city had received, we did help all of those folks. It was just new applications coming in that we had to halt until we got more funding.
Yeah.
Because our rehab need is so great in this community, it's really important that we, don't forget about those folks on the list.
Well, I mean, since the inception of CRAs, the goal is to eliminate blight, and we've overspent $800,000 with the program. As Commissioner Kohler said, it's just not necessarily a county program. But I represent blighted neighborhoods through Brownsville, through Shannontown, through Montclair, and then we can ride through this morning, and houses are falling down. And so if I'm going to reallocate money, outside of this municipality, and my district is not being served, then that's fundamentally, a problem for me. I mean, and so that's something that I hope that you guys will address.
Absolutely.
I just want one more thing on the record. Can you explain how we're going to make up the shortfall of the $800,000?
Sure. So what we did, we took that overage from some of our rehab dollars, and then also some of our, we set aside roughly $500,000 a year in hopes that we can partner with a potential rental developer through an RFA that we put out in conjunction with Florida Housing. None of the developers had made it the last year, so we did have around $500,000 there that we brought over for that, and then the rest came from rehab. And then again, once we get our new allocation, that money will be sent back over to rehab to kind of make it whole.
So we'll recoup that money, is what you're saying.
That is correct. That's correct.
Thanks, Gary.
Yes,
You're doing a great job. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thanks. Any other discussion items?
No,
If not, we stand adjourned. Commissioner Berry?
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, we'll go ahead and move into agenda review today. So, I'm sorry. So, Board, if you don't mind, we do have a new EMS director. Wes was going to take a minute to introduce him this morning if nobody objects. Wes?
Yeah, Eric, if you can come up, you and Chris. Chris Watts, our new EMS chief, hails out of Michigan. Brings a lot of experience. We're looking forward to it.
Don't hold that against him. No. So no, we're excited. I've got Chris Watts with me today, Chief Watts. He joined us 2.5 weeks ago, and I got to tell you, the guy hit the ground running. He met with Wes and myself last week and had some ideas already that we run by Wes, and Wes gave us the green light to do. One was getting more field training officers out there because we're getting the staff in. We just don't have enough training officers to get them out. So he's working on that. Got a good plan. He's been out with the crews for 2.5 weeks. He's been running calls. He's been meeting with community partners, been going to hospitals, doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I appreciate the excitement and the amount of energy he's brought to the position, and the crews out in the field have seen it. They're pretty happy and excited to see him out there as well. So I'll turn it over to Chris and let him tell a little about himself. Chris?
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me here this morning. Just a quick background on me. I did born and raised Southeast Michigan, moved to South Alabama in the Daphne area about June of 22. So I've been down here for almost 3 years now. Did flight when I came down here. In Michigan, I was operations manager for the largest ambulance service in the state of Michigan. So I got a lot of experience there. Started here at Escambia County, just working the road as a paramedic as an additional source of income originally back in January because my wife just had twins, and I was hoping she didn't have to go back to work. And then the chief opening popped up, and here we are. So happy to be here. There's a lot of potential in this county. I'm looking forward to it. We got some work to do, but I'm in it for the long haul. So appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Wes. Okay, excuse me. Move into agenda review. I have the invocation this evening. Pastor William Strickland from Harvest Christian Center will be coming. Mike, do the pledge. All right, anything to be added to the agenda, Madam Council?
No, sir.
Commissioner May?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing for me?
Mike? All right, I have a couple of discretionary items that will be distributed this afternoon. Wes?
I have nothing.
All right, thank you. All right, and the proclamations, Employee of the Month, Chief Powell's doing that, correct? I see him nodding, okay. Mike, you're going to do the next two proclamations? I can't. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to do one of them if you'd like. If your name's on both of them on the printed list I have, but okay. Todd Humble, you're doing the two related to the library. Is he in the room? Yeah. Okay. We've been ratifying two proclamations. All right. And Stacy, the email, excuse me, that came related to the public hearings. Was that the 531, 32, and 33s that all have to be, or just the 531? Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just the 531 will need to be rescheduled to October 3rd at 5:31.
What was the issue?
A legal description. It was the error. It was in the legal description, and it was
The description or the
advertised.
advertisement?
Both.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right, but the other hearings are fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk? Nothing? Okay, thank you. Wes, Horace? I'm sorry, not Wes. Horace, Drew? You sending just Horace up this morning, Drew? I understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have the rezoning cases, several rezoning cases, and then we have our September 24th consent agenda and our October the 3rd consent agenda.
Okay, and no changes for this evening? You don't need? No changes are needed? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry? Oh, I hear you, buddy. Okay, Wes, move on to your part.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 19 items on the technical public service consent agenda. I'm happy to hold anything that the board would like to talk about this morning.
Board, anything out of the consent agenda that needs to be discussed this morning or need to be held tonight? All right.
There
Wes,
are
I don't hear anything.
61 items on the budget finance consent agenda with the same, can hold anything we need to hold.
All right, Board, anything specifically that we know of needs to be held right now or would like to be discussed this morning? No? Okay. All right, Wes.
And we have one item on discussion, the SS United States. I don't know if you want Robert to come speak this morning, or if you want to wait to do it tonight.
What's the majority of the board, or would you presume we would have people speak this evening about it?
I would presume.
All right, well, board, would y'all like just wait till this evening, let Robert come? Okay. All right. Thank you, Wes. Madam Council?
There's 7 items on the agenda. We can deal with them tonight.
All right. Board, any objection to that? All right. Anything else? Any, I don't know that there is anything that we can take off the plate. Recognize our friends from Perdita Key Chamber Leadership Class. Is there anyone? Yes, please. Anyone would like to speak? I see a hand raised. Well, I saw your hand raised. That means you get to speak. Well, I mean, we have students when they come. There's always a designated speaker. So, who drew the short straw?
I'm Tammy Thurl. I'm President and CEO of the Perdido Key Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank Jeff and Wes and everybody for hosting us today. This is our first day of leadership, and this is our first leadership class ever. So we're really excited that this is happening. We have 16 in our class. So thank you so much for having us, and we appreciate it. We're learning.
Absolutely. I recognize some leaders in your class already, so we'll see.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank y'all for being here. All right, board, anything else this morning? If not, we will re-adjourn for public forum at 4:30. No objection. Thank you.